Hi, welcome to another Power Blast podcast. In this episode, let's talk about how to live a happy life. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, Perry Tinsley here, creator of the Power Blast podcast, owner of PutYourselfFirst.com, and thank you so much for joining me on this show. We're going to talk about happiness here and, how to live a happy life. And you know what? I'm going to share with you. I was reading an article, and that's what prompted me to talk about this topic. I like to think of myself as a relatively happy guy, but it not always that way. It's by choice. And so while I was going to share some of my tips, I'm like, well, what are some other things that people are doing out there, or am I the things that I'm doing? Is that what other people are doing too? And then I remembered my friend Joan Neustifter Riedel. I had to go and message her. I wish I could have her on as a guest. There was a time that she was having a very, very challenging year. I remember talking to her on the phone. It just seemed like one thing after another that year was really just going, kind of spinning out of control. It seemed like so many things were going wrong, and life was just not very nice to her. And so there are some things that she's done. If you were to talk to her today, you would be like, oh my gosh, you're like the happiest person around. It's so amazing. So I went and I picked Joan's brain a little bit before the show. And I'm like, Joan, you're a very happy person. What are some tips that you would share with people on how to live a happy life? And so I'm going to share her tips with you. And then I'm also going to share some tips from that article that I was reading, because there were some parallels there that I thought was really cool. And they resonated with me because many of the things I also do. And some of these practices, I didn't even realize that after you put them into practice so long, you forget that those are, just part of those habits, those routines that you do. So one of the things that Joan said, she goes, and I'm going to read her words, for me, I need to be around positive people. That is number one. And I can totally relate to that. When I find myself around people that are very, very negative and complaining a lot, etc., I tend to want to get out of the room or go and do something else or engage into something different. Now, I know that can't always be the case, but man, you're doing yourself a world of good to not get caught into that little drama fest. So that's one thing. She said, find something you absolutely love to do and find time for that. How many of us put things aside, things we love to do, but life's too busy to do that? What brings you happiness? Come on. Next thing is to eat well to fuel your body and find a type of physical activity. That is key for me too. I have to say, exercise, eating right, superfoods, fueling your body. When you feel good, you tend to be happier. When you're filling your body with things that might taste good but don't do the body good, you become sluggish and overwhelmed and stressed out, etc. The other thing is to get out in nature. Man, I love to travel. I love to get out in nature. I don't do it enough, but I love that tip that Joan shared. Get out in nature. That's definitely a good one. Even if it's just taking a walk around your neighborhood, And she also said that she says thank you every time things go well. And it's interesting. I'll go to and see some of her blog posts, and she's a school teacher, and so she'll thank the silly thing a kid did, or thank smile for the day was when this kid came up and thanked her for whatever it was that she did, or the smile for the day was coming home and seeing two wagging dogs, or being grateful that the car started that day. It's just she was saying, there's so many things to be happy about and great about, and she just got tired of complaining and the feelings that go around when you complain. Those aren't good feelings, people. So I do this too. She says, I wake up and say thank you for each new day. Thank you for the car starting. Thank you for my job, et cetera, and so on. And when you're showing gratitude like that, that can ripple out and create more happiness because you're appreciating what it is that you have in life. It just makes you realize, and these are her words. She goes, "It makes me realize that most of my life has been awesome." So the things that do come up, like a flat tire, et cetera, she goes, I just see it for what it is. It's just a little something, loving what is. And she said, saying thank you showed me how much I really have to be grateful for. Another thing that brings happiness and peace is forgiveness of others and of yourself from time to time. Someone may never have a person say they are sorry, but you have to find a way to forgive them, because if you don't, it only burdens you and it doesn't lift you. So self-forgiveness too. Last couple things that she said, keeping that inner child alive and not afraid to show it. A lot of us forget what it was like to be a child. And then hang out with kids, the best. All ages, she said. So that's what Joan had shared. And I'm just going to share a few other things of what I got from that one article, because it paralleled a lot of the things. No wonder Joan's happy. No wonder I'm happy. Number one, being grateful. Love the life you have, and it will get even better. Gratitude, it's a simple act of being thankful. It brings optimism to your brain. Create a gratitude journal. I use something called the 5-minute journal. You can go and Google it. It's on Amazon. Very simple, little 5 minutes, just some gratitude, a little mindset thing, and boom, you're done. But it makes you stop and appreciate what's around you. Number 2 is exercise. Joan said it. You know that I exercise. The health benefits, of course, you're going to get it, but it creates a powerful effect on mood. And there, according to this article, there was a research done from the University of Vermont that said the mood benefits of just 20 minutes of exercise can last up to 12 hours. Oh my gosh. So if I can rack up an hour workout, how long will that go, right? The other one is to be kind to others. It just feels good to give. Acts of kindness gives you an instant sense of reward. So look for opportunities to volunteer or just simply help out folks in need. A lot of times I sometimes forget that. And I'll be like, oh, I should help that person. And I'll paralyze myself and I'll be like, no, reach out and help. There's a lot of opportunities, just do that. Even when you're busy, kind gestures like thank you cards or paying somebody's parking meter or paying for somebody's coffee behind you, giving to a charity of yours, or just a simple smile. Those things can go a long way. Number 4 was to surround yourself with friends and positive people. That's what Joan said. Another one is to get enough sleep. When you're rested, your body's recuperating, your cells are regenerating, you're suspending that brain. I know some people don't sleep soundly through the night, but you're shutting off your thoughts. So when you wake up, you're literally a new person, and that means you get to leave whatever behind or whatever the troubles were. Hopefully, I know some people struggle with that, but getting good. Maintain good long sleep can really have a lot of benefits to it. The other thing is just to notice your thought patterns. Change those negative ones. And if you've had a habit of a lot of negative thoughts, this might be challenging for you. But complaints, worry, criticism, whether you speak them out loud or whether you're thinking them over and over, those become habits, and they can really weigh on the body and the mind. Doesn't create happiness anyway. So change the habit of negative thinking. It's probably really super important for creating your happiness in your life. And the last one is to meditate. You're alert, but you're relaxed, right? It's kind of like a mini massage for your brain. And so meditation, it reduces stress and it increases happiness. And if you're not sure how to do it, I'm not an expert on it either. And sometimes meditation might seem hard, but there's a few tools that I've used. One is an app called HEADSPACE. I don't know if it's on all platforms, but it's called HEADSPACE. I found it really beneficial. Another one, you'd have to Google this. It's Brain Evolution. Maybe I'll leave it in the show notes for you for a link with that. They've got some great meditations in there. There's also some meditations from the Honest Guys on YouTube. If you go to that, they've got a lot of free ones there. And there's meditations that are within the Beachbody Yoga Studio that's in Beachbody On Demand. So for those of you that don't know that and you got Beachbody On Demand, there's some meditations in there. So that's all I have for this week. How to live a happy life. You add some of those things in there, and I'm not saying you have to have all of them. Just a few things, just add them in and just notice how your mood and how your attitude and how you see things, especially with the gratitude and surrounding yourself with positive people and getting good sleep, how those things will really impact your mood and your happiness. And Joan, I want to give a big shout out to you. Thank you for sharing your tips and your gift and your happiness with so many other people. I know because you are happy and you share happiness with others, that's got to bring happiness back to you. Totally awesome. Thank you so much. That's all I have for this week, my friends. I hope you are well. And you know what? If you, a lot of you watch me on video. And just to know, you can go over to iTunes and Google and do a search for Power Blast Podcast. I do have this as an audio only version. So if that works for you better and you'd rather have that for your drive time in your car or when you're walking out mowing lawn, whatever it is, just go over to iTunes and just look for Power Blast Podcast. There's a video version and an audio version. If you want the audio, it's there for you. I so appreciate you, my friend, for coming on here. And you know what? It'd be crazy cool if, while you're in there, if you left an honest review and rating. You would absolutely rock. That's all I have for this week. Remember, it's never too late. See you next week.